place. The same goes again for Highway 6, just west of the Needles Ferry, still closed in both directions. And Rebecca, we've been talking a lot this week about the dust advisory in the Golden area. Good news for folks in the Golden area, that advisory has been lifted, so go on those 2-hour runs and breathe deep.
And Josh, while you were talking, our reporter Brady Strachan, he forwarded us an email, a news release, saying that the company that owns or is behind the Arctic Apple has now been sold to a company called Intrexon, I believe. So I'm sure we'll be following up on that as the hours unfold, but there's some interesting news coming out. That, Arctic Apple company sold. Recent approval to start selling those, I think, or some sort of an approval anyways. Obviously, investors seeing some cash to be made. Interesting stuff there. It is now 12 minutes past 5 o'clock Pacific, and this is Radio West. The battle over 3 Mile Beach in Penticton is not over yet. On Monday, a group of naturists will make its pitch at City Hall to allow public nudity on the beach. Last year, the naturists were forced from a beach they had used for years after the landowner said no more. Now that's when they started using the public 3 Mile Beach, and that began a divisive debate over public nudity. Mayor Andrew Jacobite joins us now on the line with more. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Rebecca.
What are you expecting to hear on Monday from the naturists?
Well, 2 weeks ago we did have the neighborhood come forward, and they made some allegations of decreased property values, inappropriate behavior, children being exposed to naked people, and at the end of the meeting there were some naturalists there who sort of countered that and said, hey, we're a close-knit community, we self-police, we're well-behaved, there isn't inappropriate behavior, we're discreet, and we're just there for quiet enjoyment of nude sunbathing. And on Monday, there is a delegation from the 3 Mile Naturalist Beach Committee, in essence basically asking for signage for the 3 Mile Beach to say, this is a clothing optional beach. Their presentation will also speak to the economic benefits of a designated clothing optional area. And after that delegation, there is a staff report asking for direction from council whether we want to go down options such as regulating and leveling fines for public nudity, to allow for clothing options in the public spaces, to sign or designate 3 Mile Beach or portions of that to allow for clothing optional, to maybe put some landscaping or berms to sort of help segregate a clothing optional portion still at 3 Mile Beach, or to look for an alternative public space that is clothing optional where the neighborhood exceptions exist, and lastly to go out with a public survey to really gauge the issue and the options, because both sides are very polarized in their points of view and of course come with their own set of data or surveys saying they're in the right, or there's validity in what they're saying and support. So
why do you think this has been such a divisive debate that seems to be dragging on?
I don't know. There's always drama on every side, and I think council, we come in there open-minded and willing to listen to the concerns and really decide without any emotional attachment to the issue. And when you're a property owner, certainly you have concerns when your neighborhood is disrupted. In the past, the naturalists were sort of secluded around the bay and on private property, and a couple of years ago the land ownership changed, and now the new owner doesn't want them there, and fair enough, and they've moved to the public portion, and sort of now they've been a little bit more in your face, and it's been more of a public concern, and really the small groups of people on either side have made this into a larger issue than it probably needs to be. And again, polarized points of view, and neither party wants to compromise on what they believe is their right or their beliefs. And so now it's up to council, and we're sort of a no-win situation where we're either going to be labeled as crudes or prudes, but ultimately no one wanted to touch this, and council has said, hey, we're going to listen. You're part of Penticton, and let's look at this and see where we want to go.
What is your sort of gut reaction, maybe your personal feeling on this debate? Is public nudity bad?
I think there's probably consensus of, if public nudity is in a secluded area, it's probably a lot more tolerable. And of course the neighborhood will say, well, we have kids or families sometimes come. It's a public beach, and kids don't need to be exposed to that. The other side will say, well, there's oodles of beaches in Penticton area, so if one beach was designated as clothing optional, it's not the end of the world. And so, again, I'm without tipping my hand, I'm going in there open-minded, and I be interested to hear what the delegation on Monday has to say, and what my colleagues around council have to say on the issue.
Do you think Penticton will have an answer on this in time for beach season?
Well, I think that was one of the reasons we agreed to start this process in February. We had the neighborhood come tomorrow. On Monday, we have the other delegation come, and there's a staff report there to start seeking direction. And from that direction, there'll be some. Obviously, staff will have to investigate the pros and cons of what direction we're going, and it'll circle back. But yeah, that's the intention, is to resolve this to some degree before the summer season comes in, because last year the confrontation was sort of basically started in the middle of the summer season, and it was very difficult to regulate or compromise or find a solution.
Okay, it sounds like you have a busy couple of months ahead of you then.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Jacobite, thank you very much for this.
Anytime.
Andrew Jacobite is the mayor of Penticton. It is now 18 minutes past 5 o'clock Pacific. It is cloudy in Kamloops right now, 3 degrees.